Welcome, fight fans! We are back with another betting prediction episode for this week's UFC Fight Night, Usman versus Buckley. Last week, we walked away with a dominant 85% success rate, hitting on 10 out of 13 fights, and we're looking to keep that hot streak going into this card. This event offers a lot of opportunities to profit, so let's break it all down and hopefully walk away with another big win. Let's get to it, and let's make some money. Welterweight main event, Kamaru Usman versus Joaquin Buckley. We start off in the welterweight division with a very intriguing main event. Former champ Kamaru Usman returns to action after nearly 2 years out of the octagon, and he's facing the surging powerhouse Joaquin Buckley. Usman's strengths have always been his dominant wrestling, relentless pressure, and solid cardio. But he's now aging, coming off 3 consecutive losses and stepping in after a significant layoff, which honestly raises serious questions about ring rust and whether his physicality has declined. On the feet, Usman is competent, but he tends to rely heavily on his jab and that grinded-out approach. Buckley, on the other hand, is explosive, fights with bad intentions, and has recently shown improvements in his grappling. He's been active, motivated, and is looking to make a name for himself by taking out a former champ. The big question is, can he stop the takedowns? If he does, Buckley could really light Usman up on the feet. Our pick is Joaquin Buckley, but we urge caution. Usman has had a full camp and may come in rejuvenated. He still has a clear path to victory through control and wrestling. So this fight screams buyer beware. But honestly, we lean toward the younger, hungrier, more dangerous Buckley. Women's flyweight co-main Rose Namajunas versus Miranda Maverick. This is a high-stakes matchup between former champion Rose Namajunas and rising contender Miranda Maverick. Rose is incredibly talented, crisp striking, fluid movement, and a slick ground game. However, she's been inconsistent and lately has shown signs of hesitancy in her performances. She has the tools, but she's often low volume and has a tendency to get outworked by more aggressive fighters. Maverick is the opposite. She brings intensity, pressure, and strength. She's a strong wrestler with relentless top control and is not afraid to grind out a decision. If she closes the distance early and gets Rose down, she could dominate with ground control. We're siding with Miranda Maverick here. We think she will dictate the pace, control the position, and overwhelm Rose with physicality. Middleweight. Edmen Shabazan versus Petroski. This is your classic striker versus grappler matchup. Edmen Shabazan comes in with powerful, clean striking and fast starts. He's extremely dangerous early in round 1. However, Edmen is known for his cardio issues, and once the fight goes past the first round, his effectiveness drops. Petroski is a grinder. Strong wrestling, solid top pressure, and gritty toughness. He's also shown that he can eat some shots and still keep pushing forward. If he survives the early storm, he's going to drag Edmen into deep waters and wear him down. We are picking Petroski to get the job done. We think he weathers the early damage and takes control in the grappling department as the fight wears on. Bantamweight Cody Garbrandt versus Barcelos. Here we have the fragile but fast Cody Garbrandt taking on the composed and well-rounded Barcelos. Cody still has sharp boxing and quick hands, but his downfall continues to be his chin and fight IQ. He tends to get reckless in the pocket and has paid for it time and again. Even when winning, he's always one clean shot away from being put out. So Barcelos is a calculated striker with good power and great takedown defense. He stays composed and doesn't take unnecessary risks. which could honestly be the perfect formula to expose Cody's vulnerabilities. Our pick is Raoni Barcelos to take the win. Unless Cody sticks to a flawless game plan, we see him eventually getting clipped. Middleweight Mansour Abdul Malik versus Cody Brundage. This fight features the fast-rising Mansour Abdul Malik, a powerful and dynamic fighter against veteran Cody Brundage, who has been, well, inconsistent in recent performances. Brundage has some wrestling and decent grit, but his decision-making under pressure has cost him. Abdul Malik is explosive, sharp, and will likely dictate the pace with his striking and movement. We're siding with Mansour Abdul Malik to get the win. His athleticism and aggression should be enough to get past Brundage. Light heavyweight Alonzo Menfield versus Umarc. Here we get a battle between the heavy-handed Alonzo Menfield and the younger, technical, and undefeated Umarc. Menfield is always dangerous early. He's explosive, but, his gas tank is a bit suspect. If Sai can survive the first 5 minutes, he has the tools to pick Menfield apart with patience and precision. Our pick is Umarc. We like the youth, IQ, and cardio advantage here. Light heavyweight Paul Craig versus Rodolfo Balato. This fight features the always unpredictable Paul Craig, a submission specialist who's made a career out of snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. Craig is extremely dangerous off his back. Just ask Jamahal Hill or Nikita Krylov. His guard game is active, and he's got a real knack for catching limbs in wild scrambles. However, his flaws are glaring. Craig's striking is stiff and slow, and he tends to leave his chin high. He doesn't like getting hit, and his game often falls apart when he can't initiate grappling exchanges. Enter Rodolfo Balato, a rising Brazilian prospect and former LFA champion. Balato brings a well-rounded game with powerful kicks, fluid combinations, and a solid ground foundation. While he's not a world-class grappler, he's smart enough to avoid Craig's traps on the mat. Balato fights with composure, stays calculated, and doesn't overextend. We're picking Rodolfo Balato to win. If he avoids the ground exchanges and keeps it standing, he should be able to outstrike Craig, potentially even get a finish. Balato has youth, confidence, and durability on his side. Welterweight Michael Chisa versus McGee. This is a gritty showdown between two battle-tested veterans. Michael Chisa is a long, wiry grappler who really thrives when he's able to drag opponents into positional battles. He's a menace once he gets on your back, and honestly, his scrambling ability makes him dangerous in transitions. That said, Chisa's biggest issue has always been his striking. It's rudimentary at best, and if he can't get the fight to the ground, he's often a sitting duck. McGee, on the other hand, is a grinder through and through. He's not flashy, but he's tough as nails, has endless cardio, and applies suffocating pressure. His wrestling is solid enough to neutralize grapplers, and while he doesn't have finishing power, he can turn fights into dirty, drawn-out affairs. This fight may come down to who can impose their style. If Chiesa gets an early takedown and works to the back, he could control the fight. But if McGee survives the early grappling and turns it into a war of attrition, he likely outlasts Chiesa and wins on activity. We're siding with McGee due to his pace, durability, and ability to keep fights competitive across 3 rounds. But again, we do see a path for Chiesa to make the upset, so buyer beware when making your bets. Bantamweight Malcolm Wellmaker versus Chris Moutinho. Now Chris Moutinho became a fan favorite after surviving a beatdown from Sean O'Malley, showing just absurd durability. But honestly, the reality is, Moutinho gets hit way too much, and he really lacks the offensive firepower to deter better strikers. Enter Malcolm Wellmaker, a sharp and precise striker with real finishing ability. He throws with intent, mixes up his shots well, and doesn't waste movement. Wellmaker will have the speed advantage and will likely be landing clean all night, especially if Moutinho just marches forward without head movement as he's done in the past. We're picking Malcolm Wellmaker with confidence, and we're also betting the KO or TKO prop. This feels like a tailor-made showcase fight for Wellmaker to make a statement. Flyweight, Cody Durden versus Jose Ochoa. Cody Durden is a veteran with solid wrestling, decent boxing, and plenty of cage experience. He's gritty and durable, and he really knows how to control fights from the top position. But he's also shown some lapses in fight IQ, and he's not always consistent from round to round. Jose Ochoa, while less experienced, comes in hungry, explosive, and honestly, pretty dangerous. He's got fast hands, sneaky power for the division, and he's aggressive in scrambles. He's the kind of fighter that just fights like he has something to prove, and that could cause problems for Durden if he starts slow. This is a classic case of veteran versus up-and-comer. Ochoa is the type who could, explode onto the scene with a breakout win if Durden doesn't stay sharp. We're picking Jose Ochoa as a slight underdog. It's a risk, but if he keeps the fight standing or creates chaos in transitions, he has the athletic edge to pull off the upset. Bantamweight, Ricky Simon versus Cameron Smotherman. Cameron Smotherman steps in on short notice, and, well, that's a tall order when you're facing a cardio machine like Ricky Simon. Simon is known for his relentless pace, chain wrestling, and honestly, his durability. He breaks opponents with pressure and has gone the distance with elite names. Simon may not be a knockout artist, but his grinding style is extremely effective over 3 rounds. Ricky Simon is our confident pick here. He has a full camp, the superior skill set, and should dominate wherever the fight goes. This could be a clean sweep for Simon, and hey, maybe even a finish via ground and pound or submission. Welterweight, Phil Rowe versus Andre Luca. This is one of the most evenly matched fights on the card, and honestly one of the most difficult to cap. Phil Rowe is a tall, rangy striker with a big reach advantage. He's dangerous in striking exchanges and, has sneaky power. But his biggest flaw is his takedown defense and gas tank. If he's not able to keep the fight at range, he fades hard. Andre Luca is compact, powerful, and pressure-heavy. He brings a grinding style that can drown fighters like Rowe. If Luca closes the distance and wrestles early, he can rack up control time and bank rounds. This fight is razor close. If Rowe can snipe from range, he could catch Luca. But if Luca makes it ugly, which he likely will, he could wear Phil down. Slight lean to Phil Rowe, but with very low confidence. This is a spot we'd recommend either staying away from or keeping your bet size small. Very live potential for Luca to take the win, so buyer beware. Women's bantamweight, Jamie Lynn Horth versus Vanessa Demopoulos. Vanessa Demopoulos is scrappy, tough, and has sneaky grappling. Especially her submissions off her back. She's never out of a fight and tends to thrive in chaotic moments. But she's also undersized for this weight class and doesn't have the physicality to bully bigger opponents. Jamie Lynn Horth is the bigger, stronger, and more physically imposing fighter here. She has solid striking fundamentals, decent wrestling, and the ability to keep fights at her preferred pace. She likely won't fall into the wild exchanges Demopoulos thrives in. So, we're picking Jamie Lynn Horth to win, and we also like the over 2.5 rounds prop. Horth should be able to control the fight with her size, strength, and just her overall structure. Unless she somehow gets caught in a slick submission, honestly, This is her fight to lose. Alright, final thoughts. Well, that wraps up our predictions for UFC Fight Night. Usman versus Buckley. We've got some confident picks, a couple of risky spots, and, plenty of opportunity to cash out with some smart bets. We'll be back with a recap after the fights, win or lose. As always, bet responsibly, stay sharp, and good luck to all our fellow gamblers this weekend. And hey, if you liked the video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to support the channel and help us keep growing. Let's make this weekend profitable, and as always, let's get paid.